Today let's talk about the brand new power station that I'll be running on my Jeep. Stay tuned, guys. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Zach, and that is correct. We are going to be talking about this brand new power station right here in front of me. And over the past few months, as you guys know, I had knee surgery. Wasn't able to get out a whole lot, but I was able to keep upgrading things on the Jeep to make life on the road and at camp and on the trail much better. And one of the things that we are upgrading is the power station. Now, as you guys will remember, I used to run this power station. This is the Blue Yeti EB3A. It had about 200 watt hours worth of power, just over that. And I used to run this for my fridge and to help charge components, you know, such as camera gear, my phone, things like that. And it did really, really well. But the thing was, I had to keep it charged all the time. I always had to have it plugged in when I was on the go. On the trail, I'd have to plug it in to the Jeep so that would charge. Then I'd have to plug the fridge back into the Jeep while I was driving, so that would stay on. And honestly, it did work. It was a pretty good system. I just always had to have the thing charging for about 5 hours. So the whole time I was on the trail, and then when I get to camp, I had about 100% charge. It would run the fridge all night, and by the next day, I'd have to charge it again. Because normally it would go from 100 to it would be 1% by the time I hit the trail again the next morning. Now, with this one, we shouldn't have that problem. Hi, Casper. This is an Anker F1200. And the reason I went with Anker, honestly, I was a kind of a debate between this and Jackery. Both aren't sponsors of the channel, but it was kind of a debate because I wanted something that had over 1,000 watt hours worth of power. And I just had a debate between the two, and in the end, I went with this because when it comes to the lifespan and the power output, this beat the Jackery's, competitor. Basically, the Jackery's half, which competes with this one outbeat it. So I went with this one and said, let's give this a try. Now, as you guys know, I don't have a 12 volt system in the Jeep. I don't have a red arc. I don't run it. Maybe something later on in the future. I haven't quite decided. I'm not a big fan of having all the wires and everything scattered throughout my rig. This is basically taking the place of what that would do. I can plug this into the Jeep, so the Jeep will keep this charged. I can plug everything into this, and this will keep running and keeping the fridge cold, and anything else that I need running, this will help keep it going. Now, this has got 1,800 watts worth of power. That's what it is, and it puts out about 1,229 watt hours capacity. So this is going to be keeping things charged and running for a lot longer period of time without having to recharge this right away. So that means at camp, I can not just keep the fridge plugged in, I can plug in all my camera gear, I can plug in anything else that needs to be running on power or charged without worrying about this running flat. And that was my biggest thing, is I wanted something that wasn't going to go flat really quickly. The Blue Yeti was great for just charging batteries or just charging the fridge. It couldn't do a multiple of things at once. It either popped the circuit on it or it just drained the battery in like 2 seconds. But this thing, I think, should be very much helpful. So let's talk a little bit about this thing right here. So that's the box behind it. It's been out of the box for like 2 months now because I've been testing it out. But in the box, you got this lovely thing, and you got this other box that has the main charge cable for AC power. You have the car adapter in here, and you have one other cable that's within here. I did not get the solar panels, as Casper he's being my show person. I did not get the solar panels, guys. I did get the solar panels with the Blue Yeti, and honestly, when the sun was perfect, it worked great. I mentioned it in that video. go check it out. But I didn't get the solar panels because I might as well just charge this while I'm driving from the Jeep. It's much faster, more reliable, and I'm not having to fight the sun behind clouds. So, no solar panels. But you can get solar panels. They have all sorts of different sizes, ranges that'll fill this thing up. So let's get into some specifics. I do have my notes hiding back here. So this has a 10-year lifespan. So this should run, according to Anker, off of their website and off of the stuff that comes with this in the box. This should run for 10 years, powering your stuff. They claim it's better than the average competitor, which is around 2 to 3 years. This has got 10 years. Honestly, guys, if you're using just any kind of power station to power some things, as long as it's not like a cheap Chinese knockoff, it should power things for much longer. We'll see. We're going to put that to the test. Also, this thing has a 5-year full parts warranty, meaning that if anything goes wrong on this within the first 5 years of owning said thing, they will replace it most of the time. Pretty much they replace it, unless it's some little component that can easily be sent to you and fixed that way. But most of it has a 5-year full replacement warranty. Now, as you guys heard, as I told you, it puts out about 1,229 watt hours worth of power, and it puts it through all of these lovely ports right here. So not only do we have our 6 AC outputs, we do have 4 A ports, your USB A ports, and you do have 2 USB-C ports now. With the C ports, one is just a normal charge, and this top one is a fast charge port. So the bottom one puts out about 60 watts, the top one puts out 100 watts, so it'll charge things much quicker. It does have, where's the little button, a light. It has 3 different settings, and then off. It does have a power saving mode, so you can flip the switch on or off. It'll put it into kind of like a power saving-ish mode. And then you do have the display here, and you can turn on and off the display with this button. Now I charged this, I had this for 2 months now, charged this 2 months ago. Did some testing, recharged it. Not using it, it's only lost 10% battery over 2 months. Pretty happy. Now, on the back, it's quite heavy. This thing is about 25 pounds. Roughly, it's just a little over, I do believe. But back here, you do have this nice little hard plastic cover that, if I can actually do it, I don't have nails. There we go. You have your input charges. So you do have your input for solar, or the car charger actually plugs into this one too. And then you have your AC input. So these are what will refeed the batteries within this bad boy. The outside is pretty much plastic. It's a bunch of batteries hidden under plastic. It's kind of tough feeling. Honestly, it'll probably get scratched up, but the handles are nice and thick and strong, so I'm not worried about this, the handles breaking if I'm trying to lift this up or move it. It does have some grommets on the bottom that help keep this from sliding around, which is awesome. Now this does not have any kind of Bluetooth charging. So the Blue Yeti had, as you guys know, on the top you could set your phone, charge it that way, wireless charging. This does not have any wireless charging at all, which I'm okay with because I was never using it, and the sole function is to power my things within the Jeep, so I think I'm quite happy with it. And the air vents on the side to help this thing cool off work quite well. Now, this will charge from 0 to 80 in 1 hour. So from 0 to 80%, 1 hour, this thing will be charged. And honestly, guys, when this thing is charging from 0 and is drawing the power in, the fans, when they kick on, are not very loud. With the Blue Yeti, they get quite loud. It sounds like there's an oscillating fan somewhere in the room. This does not. It's a little hum that you hear, and it's not very loud. You have to be within that room. You have to be within that room to actually hear the hum. So far, it's quite quiet when it charges, which honestly is quite nice. So let's talk about this screen. So not only does the screen tell you the state of charge, how much charge you have within your power station, you can go ahead and hit any of the buttons. So you have your buttons here that will power on your output. So this button powers on your AC and USB ports. This would power on your 12 volt car port. And of course this one is your button for the light. But if you turn that on, and let's plug in something. Plug that in. I'll just charge my phone. There we go. My phone is charging. Right over here, you're going to see how much watts are being drawn. So right now I have about 17, 18 watts being drawn. It'll tell you your output. And then over here, which I think is really, really cool, is it will tell you how many days this thing will continue to run charging or powering that object. So based off of how much power this thing, your object that is plugged in will draw, it will tell you right here, if my little thing will stay on, just how long this thing will continue to charge that. So this is telling me this will charge it for about a day and a half, drawing 18 watts. My phone's kind of dead, so it's drawing a little more power than normal. But it tells you that, which I think is really, really cool. And as this would stop, charging, this will continue to increase the days. Once it draws power, it'll change it. But I think that was a really cool feature that it tells me. Now when I plug this in, if I have other things plugged in, it'll tell me the output and the input going into it all on that screen and how many days are still remaining, which honestly I really rather enjoy. Now, Anker, just like Blue Yeti, just like Jackery, just like probably a couple other power stations out there, do have Bluetooth that you can connect to your phone and you can operate your device off of.
Okay, so here we go. This is what the app looks like. So on the screen, we have the percentage and what the temperature of the unit is. Then you'll see you have your DC and AC input, what would go into the machine. Then down here you have our outputs. And as you can see if you have something plugged into one of the USB ports, something plugged into an AC port or the car port. And we have the ability to turn them on and off. Now the AC output controls the USB ports as well. And then you have the car port. And if I click this, I turned it off and then I turned it back on. And then if we scroll down, you have the brightness control for brightness of the light. So you can choose just how bright it is or not. And at the very bottom, you have the power setting for the screen. Now on this screen, if I was to turn something on, you're going to see on the AC output just what happens. Now, if you notice there, you saw just how many watts was being drawn from the power station on the graph. It shows you. And then up top, if you guys didn't notice, go back a little bit and look at the very top where it says power saving mode is on, which it is on at the moment. You'll see that it shows just how long the power station will run with that much amperage being drawn. So it was telling me about 17 hours, which is pretty cool. Now, if we click the little settings icon up here, we have a whole nother screen of settings. Now with these settings, you can click on the AC recharge and you can choose when this is plugged into the wall, how much power it draws at one point to charge your system. You can set it as high or low as you want. If you're trying to charge it off of something else that doesn't have as much wattage, you can set it lower so this doesn't do it. You can also choose the SOS mode, the screen brightness, so the display screen, you can choose just how bright it is, and then the screen timeout, things like that. And then you have kind of at the bottom your temperature, your other information in regards to the unit itself.
So as you guys saw, that Bluetooth is pretty good, and I like the fact that there are lots of little different settings that you can mess with on it. You didn't have those features with the Blue Yeti itself. Maybe you did with some of the bigger ones, but with my little Blue Yeti, I didn't have those features that I could mess with. The other thing that I did like on the app is that, like I said, you can set a timer for this thing. So if you're running a heated blanket or something in one of the AC ports, you can set a timer. If that's the only thing in there, you can set a timer and it'll turn it off, which is really, really helpful. Now it does have also the, if you were to pop the breaker on it, the little breaker buttons here in the back, just press it, it goes back on. It's great. Just, you got about over 1,000 watt hours of power. Hopefully that's an 1,800 watts. You should be good. But like I said, guys, I'm going to test this out over the course of this next year for the most part. This is going to be my power on the road and on the trails. This is going to charge my fridge, all my camera gear, everything is going to be charged through this, and it's going to be charging itself from the Jeep. So I'm really curious to see how this all goes in one, charging all those different things and how long it takes to recharge. We will have a update or a review, a longer term review on this, and I'm very excited. Now the Blue Yeti isn't quite going anywhere just yet. I'm still going to use it, but we have to see first. Why I say that is because I have my H-calorie diesel heater, that 8 kilowatt diesel heater. I'm curious to see, because from things I've read, they can be a wee bit finicky on power stations, in a sense of they're kind of choosy on which power station works for them. So I'm hoping that I can run it off of the Blue Yeti in the evening, so that the Blue Yeti can be utilized to run the diesel heater. Otherwise, I know it'll run off of this. It was tested with this. So it will work off of this, but I'm curious to see if that will use it, so I can just, plug it into that, run the diesel heater off of that. So I'm still going to use the Blue Yeti if it works. If not, it's just going to kind of become my backup for various other things. Now I know there's a massive debate out there between, should you have the whole 12 volt red arc system, or will a power station be enough? And that is something that we can answer later on down the road. I think it'd be a fun one to answer is, will this be enough to keep everything I use running and charged, and keep this thing running and charging correctly and have no issues? Or would a 12 volt system permanently in the Jeep be better? Let's find out. We're going to test that theory. But for the most part, for the year of 2024, this bad boy right here is going to be going on. I love it when different lights turn off in the house and I don't realize it. But this bad boy is going to be what is going to be running everything over the course of my adventures for this year, because we have all those backcountry discovery routes. There's no power around. This is it. So I'm really excited. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope you found this informational, helpful, choosing. I'm not saying rush out and buy this. I still want to put this to the paces. I will have a long-term video in several months once this gets used more and I have, put it to the test. I want to test this out. But at the moment, guys, I am very happy and excited to be using this new power station. If you guys haven't checked out some of my other videos, go check them out. Also, hit that subscribe button, guys. We came real close, real close in 2023, hitting my goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Not only do I still want to hit 1,000 subscribers, but I want to go a lot further. But I have other goals in mind, and you guys hitting that, that subscribe button helps me out immensely. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, guys. Also, links to my other social media accounts are in the description below, as well as a list of parts that I use on the Jeep. I'm still working on a few things to make all the Amazon links look prettier. I'm getting there. Also, a link to my Patreon is in there if you guys would like to help support me other than hitting the subscribe button, guys. I greatly appreciate it, because you guys are what helps make this channel happen, and your support helps to ensure that I can keep doing this. So thank you all for joining me today, and I will catch you all next time.